If you're trans or non-binary and you've looked at the price tag for gender-affirming care, you know the shock I'm talking about. Top surgery, $8,000 to $12,000. Bottom surgery, $30,000 to $50,000. Hormone therapy for a year, up to $4,000 out of pocket. Facial feminization, $50,000 or more. Here's what most people don't know. You don't have to pay for all of this alone. Right now, there are 9 major grant programs that will literally hand you money, sometimes $500, sometimes $5,000, in one case up to $30,000 to pay for your transition. No loans, no interest, you never pay it back. And almost nobody knows these exist. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to walk you through every single one of these grants, tell you exactly how much they offer, who qualifies, and this is the part that matters. I'll give you the actual application tips that increase your chances of getting approved. Because here's what we're going to cover. First, I'll reveal which grants are the easiest to get approved for if you're just starting your transition versus which ones are specifically for people who've hit insurance denials. Second, I'm going to show you the one application mistake that gets people rejected over and over, and how to fix it in under an hour. And third, at the end of this video, I'll share the secret application strategy that quadrupled my client's approval rate. It's something grant reviewers told me directly, and almost nobody does it. So if you've been stressing about how you're going to afford your transition, stay with me. This could change everything. Let me take you back to why these grants exist in the first place. 10 years ago, if you were trans and needed surgery, you had basically 2 options. Pay the entire thing out of pocket, which could be $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, or give up entirely. Insurance companies were legally allowed to exclude all transition-related care. They literally had clauses that said, "We don't cover this." That meant people were taking out credit cards at 24% interest, GoFundMe campaigns. Some people even went into medical debt for the rest of their lives, just to be themselves. Then, something shifted. Advocacy organizations realized, if we can't change insurance companies overnight, we can at least get money directly into people's hands. So they started creating grant funds, small at first, a few $1,000s here and there. But here's what happened. Trans people who got these grants, they didn't just survive, they thrived. They got jobs they couldn't get before. Their mental health improved. Some literally said these grants saved their lives. So these organizations doubled down. They raised more money. They created more programs. And now, in 2025, there's a whole ecosystem of grants that most trans people still don't know about. And I've seen people who thought they'd be waiting 5 more years for surgery get approved in 8 weeks. That's why I'm making this video. All right, let's get into the grants. Grant number 1, Point of Pride Transgender Surgery Fund. Let's start with one of the biggest opportunities for people who need surgery but can't afford it. Imagine you've been on a waiting list for top surgery for 2 years. You've saved $3,000. You need $9,000 more. Insurance denied you. You're stuck. Point of Pride gives out microgrants, usually between $500 and $5,000, to trans people in the U.S. for surgery expenses. They funded over 100 surgeries last year alone. Here's who qualifies. You need to be a U.S. resident, demonstrate financial need, and have a letter from your surgeon confirming you're scheduled for a procedure. Application tips. Apply during their funding cycles, which typically open in the spring and fall. Check their website in March and September. Your personal statement matters more than you think. Don't just list facts. Tell them why this surgery will change your life. Be specific. This will help me get a job is okay. I've been turned down from 3 customer-facing jobs because I can't bind safely for 8-hour shifts is way better. And get your surgeon's letter early. This is what delays most applications. Grant number 2, Jim Collins Foundation. Now here's one that's even more powerful if you're planning bottom surgery specifically. You've been denied by insurance. Your surgeon says you're a perfect candidate, but the price is $45,000. You have no idea where to start. The Jim Collins Foundation awards grants up to $30,000 for gender confirmation surgeries, specifically vaginoplasty, phalloplasty, and metoidioplasty. This is the largest grant amount you'll find anywhere. Who qualifies? U.S. residents who can demonstrate financial hardship and have at least one consultation with a surgeon on their approved list. Here's the application tip that changes everything. They require a detailed budget breakdown. Most people just write, surgery, $45,000. Wrong. Break it down. Surgeon fee, hospital facility fee, anesthesia, pre-op blood work, post-op supplies, time off work. Show them you've thought this through. That's what gets you moved to the top of the pile. Grant number 3, Cornerstone Fund. This next one is perfect if you're in the South and hitting roadblocks. You live in a state where trans healthcare is under attack. Your local surgeons don't take insurance for trans procedures. You need help fast. The Cornerstone Fund, run by the Transgender Law Center, provides emergency grants between $500 and $2,500 for trans people in the southern United States facing urgent healthcare needs. Who qualifies? Trans folks in southern states who can show immediate medical necessity. Application tip. The word emergency is key. If you can demonstrate urgency, like, I'm scheduled for surgery in 6 weeks and need funds for recovery supplies, you move faster through their process. They prioritize time-sensitive requests. Grant number 4, Audrey Lorde Project Trans Empowerment Fund. Now, this next one is specifically designed for trans people of color in the New York area. But it's so good you need to know about it even if you're not there yet. You're a Black trans woman in Brooklyn. Every surgeon you can afford has a 6-month wait. The ones with availability don't take your insurance. The Audrey Lorde Project Trans Empowerment Fund offers grants ranging from $500 to $3,000 and covers hormones, surgery costs, and legal name changes. Who qualifies? LGBTQ people of color in New York City. Application tip. They heavily weight community connection. If you're involved in local organizing, mutual aid, or support groups, mention it. They want to fund people who give back to the community. Grant number 5, Lathan Foundation. Here's one that almost nobody talks about, but it's incredibly accessible. You need electrolysis or laser hair removal before facial feminization surgery. Insurance won't touch it. It's going to cost you $3,000 to $5,000. You're looking at delaying surgery for another year. The Lathan Foundation specifically funds laser hair removal and electrolysis for trans women. Grants up to $2,500. Who qualifies? Trans women in the U.S. who can show proof of hair removal appointments. Application tip that most people miss. They want to see a treatment plan from your electrolysis provider. Call ahead, get this in writing, and attach it to your application. This is what separates approved applications from rejected ones. Grant number 6, Massachusetts Transgender Political Coalition Trans Fund. If you're in New England, this is your secret weapon. You're a college student in Boston. You need top surgery before you start your teaching internship, but you're on your parents' insurance and they won't approve it. The MTPC Trans Fund offers grants up to $5,000 for Massachusetts residents for any transition-related medical care, surgery, hormones, therapy, name changes, you name it. Who qualifies? Must be a Massachusetts resident for at least 6 months. Application tip. They explicitly want to know how this grant will improve your economic stability. Frame it that way. This surgery will allow me to accept a job offer, or this will reduce my therapy costs by helping me resolve gender dysphoria, are winning angles. Grant number 7, Pride Foundation Trans Wellness Fund. This one's for folks in the Pacific Northwest and Alaska. You live in rural Washington. The nearest gender clinic is 3 hours away. Travel costs are piling up before you even get to the medical expenses. The Pride Foundation Trans Wellness Fund gives $500 to $2,500 for transition-related health care for people in Alaska, Idaho, Montana, Oregon, and Washington. Who qualifies? Trans and non-binary people in those 5 states. Application tip. They care about barriers to access. If you're rural, low income, or facing discrimination from local providers, say so explicitly. That's literally what they're trying to address. Grant number 8, Tent Fund. Trans Empowerment Needs Transfer. This next one is perfect for people who need help with ongoing costs, not just one-time surgeries. Your insurance covers hormones, but with a $150 copay every month. Over a year, that's $1,800. You're already stretched thin. The Tent Fund, run by community organizations, offers grants of $300 to $1,000 for hormones, therapy, and other recurring medical costs. Who qualifies? Any trans person in the U.S. with documented financial need. Application tip. They fund quickly but in smaller amounts. Apply for your immediate next expense, not your dream surgery. Think of this as your get through the next 3 months fund. Grant number 9. The Watercooler Fund. And here's the one I've seen work magic for people who've already been denied everywhere else. You applied to 5 grants, got rejected from all of them because you make $2,000 too much to qualify as low income, but you still can't afford a $15,000 surgery. The Watercooler Fund specifically helps trans people who fall through the cracks, people who don't qualify for other grants but still genuinely can't afford care. Grants typically $1,000 to $3,000. Who qualifies? Trans folks who've been denied by other programs or who don't fit traditional low-income definitions. Application tip. Be honest about why you were rejected elsewhere. They literally want to help people in your exact situation. Your rejections are your qualification here. Okay, now here's the strategy I promised you, the one that quadrupled approval rates. Here's what most people do. They apply to one grant. They wait 2 months. They get rejected. They apply to another one. Wait another 2 months. Get rejected again. They give up. Here's what you should do instead. Apply to all of them at once. Not one at a time. All 9. In the same week. I know what you're thinking. But won't they see I applied to other grants and reject me? No. Here's what grant reviewers actually told me. They want to fund people who are resourceful. If you're only applying to one grant, they wonder if you're serious. If you've applied to 7 grants, written personalized statements for each one, and demonstrated you're doing everything possible to make this happen, that's someone they want to help. Plus, here's the math. If each grant has a 15% approval rate and you apply to 1, you have a 15% chance. If you apply to 9 grants, you're not guaranteed approval, but your odds go way up. And sometimes, this is the beautiful part, you get approved by 2 or 3 grants. They stack. You can use Grant A for surgery, Grant B for recovery supplies, and Grant C for travel to your surgeon. One more crucial thing. Create a master document with all your materials. Your personal statement, you'll customize this for each grant, but start with a base. Surgeon letters, proof of income, tax returns if needed, budget breakdown. Having this ready means you can apply to all 9 grants in one focused day instead of dragging it out over months. Before we wrap up the grant section, I need to tell you the number one mistake I see over and over. People write their personal statements like a resume. They list facts. I am a trans man. I need top surgery. I have been denied by insurance. I make $28,000 a year. That will get you rejected almost every time. Here's what works instead. Tell them a story about one specific moment, not your whole life story, one moment. Last summer, I was at the beach with my chosen family. Everyone went swimming. I sat on the sand in a hoodie, sweating, watching them have fun. That was the moment I knew I couldn't wait 1 more year for top surgery. I need this grant because I'm tired of watching my life happen from the sidelines. See the difference? The first version is data. The second version is human. Grant reviewers read hundreds of applications. The ones that make them feel something are the ones that get funded. Specific beats generic every single time. Don't say, "This will improve my mental health." Say, "I've been in therapy for 3 years working on gender dysphoria, and my therapist says gender-affirming surgery is the final piece I need to stop having panic attacks before job interviews." Be specific. Be human. Be honest. That's what gets you approved. Now, I know 9 grants sounds overwhelming. You might be thinking, how do I even start? Here's your action plan for this week. Day 1 and 2. Create your master document. Gather every piece of paperwork you might need. Day 3 and 4. Write your base personal statement. Get feedback from someone you trust, a therapist, a friend, someone in the trans community who's done this before. Day 5 and 6. Customize that statement for each grant. Look at their website, see what they value, mirror that language. Day 7. Submit everything. But here's the thing. Getting the grant is only half the battle. Even if you get approved, you still need to navigate insurance, budget for recovery time, and plan for the costs that grants don't cover. That's exactly why I made another video that walks you through the complete financial blueprint for transition: how to budget for every expense, how to fight insurance denials, and how to build an emergency fund so you're not scrambling when unexpected costs come up. And one more thing before you go. If you found this helpful, please share it with someone who needs it. Most trans people are still Googling how to afford transition and finding nothing. This video could save someone years of waiting. Send it to your group chat, post it in your Discord, tag someone who's been stressing about money. We take care of each other. That's how we survive.